There's a 2023 mock draft floating out there that has Fresno State's Jake Haener going number 7 overall. We got to talk about what it means. It's Felix Sharp at Sharp Review on Twitter. If you like this video, consider hitting the like and subscribe button so you never miss any of the content that we're dropping. Pro Football Network's Cam Malore has released a 2023 mock draft that has raised some eyebrows, including my own. No offense to Cam, but it's ruffled some feathers in the Devi and C2C community. One of those picks being Jake Haener going number 7 overall to the Denver Broncos. I'm going to get into the entire mock draft, including at the end giving my picks for potential the skill positions to be first-round picks in next year's drafts. But next year's 2023 draft, let's take a look at some of these picks from the Pro Football Network 2023 mock draft. They got number 1 to Houston, C.J. Stroud. Don't have a problem with C.J. Stroud being a top pick. They've got number 2, Bryce Young. I would probably flip those. Bryce Young being just an uber elite prospect coming out of high school, who won the Heisman Trophy. I think that mobility is actually going to make him the number 1 pick in 2023. Don't have a problem with the order, though, if you're going to have C.J. Stroud number 1. Number 3, Spencer Rattler. Now, I think that's a little bit of a projection. Spencer Rattler, the 5-star quarterback coming out of Arizona, going to Oklahoma, and then washing out with Lincoln Riley after Caleb Williams took his spot. He's got this reclamation project going on at the other USC, the University of South Carolina, and we'll see how he does this year. I think that though it is a projection to get him to number 3 overall to Detroit. Number 5 to Carolina, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Again, no problem with that pick. I think there is a skill position player that's missing here. And then we get to number 7, Jake Haener. Now, I'm going to venture to guess that no one has spent more ink and audio talking about Jake Haener in this community than I have. I've spoken about him on my podcast, The Debbie Debate, which you should go download and subscribe to. I've spoken about him on The Undrafted with Mr. Jax Falcone. If Jake was a potential first-round pick, I think that he would have come out this year, not have gone back to Fresno State, wouldn't have entertained entering the transfer portal. But I love this player, 3-star prospect coming out of the 2017 class. He's going to be a very old prospect in 2023. Red shirts in 2017 at Washington. Eventually 2020 transfers to Fresno State. He actually transferred in 2019, sits out that year. And in 2020 splits time, and then 2021 becomes the starter. For my money, the best college football game of the season. Fresno State at UCLA. Fresno State pulls the upset, which I called. I mean, there are so many things I love about Jake Haener. His off-platform ability, his intelligence. You see him at the line of scrimmage making checks, changing protections and that sort of thing. 3rd and 19, 3rd and 14. They're not scared to throw the ball down the field. They don't run screens. Coach had a lot of confidence in him as a play caller. He is a coach on the field. He is a coach on the field for Fresno State and one of the best college fantasy quarterbacks that you have. But I think that his arm strength is probably going to prevent him from being a first-round pick. I have called him the Russell Wilson, the Tom Brady, the Dak Prescott of his class whenever he comes out. That meaning that I don't think he's going to be a day 1 or day 2 pick. He's going to be a 3rd or 4th round pick that I'm going to want to have rostered in my Debbie leagues, in my dynasty leagues. I don't see Jake Haener vaulting himself up to number 7 overall. If he had that ability, he probably would have come out this year. Again, going to be 23, 24 when he comes out. Number 8, Phil Jurkovich. Kind of the same story with Phil Jurkovich, an older prospect who I think if he had potential top 10 potential that he would have come out this year. So I don't see Phil Jurkovich. He was injured this year, but I don't see him coming out and being a first-round pick next year. Could be wrong. Kayshon Boutte, number 9 to the New York Jets. Don't have a problem with that there. Number 12, Cam's got Will Levis replacing Tua Tagovailoa. Another transfer here, Penn State to Kentucky. Excellent season with Wan'Dale Robinson there, his leading receiving weapon. We'll see how he looks this year without Wan'Dale in the fold. He's got Tavion Robinson transferring from Virginia Tech to Kentucky, so he may be able to keep it going. This is what I'll say about Will Levis. He checks boxes as far as his physical stature, his arm strength, his athleticism, but consistency. Consistency is going to be his issue. Being accurate on a down-to-down basis is going to either make him a first-round pick or make him a day 2 pick. Number 15, Marvin Mims. Really no issue with that. Let's see how Marvin Mims looks with Jeff Lebby at the helm. Is he going to play in the slot? Is he going to play outside? He should be the number 1 target for Dylan Gabriel. Number 19, Quentin Johnston from TCU. Big, long, athletic wide receiver. I absolutely believe he is a first-round pick, someone who can run goes and catch screens, very similar to what we've seen from Treylon Burks this year. Quentin has been injured. He's been a little bit inconsistent. That's somewhat due to the offense, but has all of the potential in the world. Length, speed, athleticism. Jordan Addison, number 20 to New Orleans. Again, I believe that he is also a first-round pick. Biletnikoff winner this year. Is just an outstanding player. Number 22, Bijan Robinson. Quite frankly, this is too low for Bijan. I know that we've seen running backs get devalued here recently, but he is, I think we saw the NFL make a mistake with not taking Jonathan Taylor very highly. Remember, he was the, third running back taken in that 2020 draft class. You had Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you had DeAndre Swift, and then Jonathan Taylor. And I guess A.J. Dillon was right there taken near him. I don't think that they're going to make that mistake with Bijan. I've got Bijan locked in the top 10. We're going to see him taken highly. Same way with Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley. I think that his athleticism, his production, playing in Steve Sarkisian's offense down there at Texas, he is absolutely going to be a first-round pick. He's going to be a top 10 pick. I would bet money on that. Number 25 is Raheem Jarrett, 5-star prospect out of Maryland, wide receiver. He has not lived up to the billing there in Maryland. Kind of a poor man's DJ Moore, someone who can run after the catch, big, stout wide receiver. He scored on the same play against Penn State in that shortened 2020 season. It wasn't great with Dante Demas out this year. We've had expectations for Raheem Jarrett. I don't think that he's a first-round draft pick. He has not lived up to that billing. Number 32, Jaren Hall, the quarterback out of BYU. I don't see Jaren Hall being a first-round quarterback at all. I don't, someone who very athletic, throws a lot of screens. He's a good college player, but again, another older prospect. BYU, we know how they go on the missions, and they come back, and they're 21-year-old freshmen. I don't see Jaren Hall being a first-round draft pick. I'm not going to try to slot these guys. I thought about doing a mock draft myself. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is just give you the skill position players that I have being potential first-round picks. And there's some, I agree some with Cam Malore's selections and disagree on others. First at the quarterback position, Bryce Young. He's going to be my number 1 quarterback. Listen, everything that you want. He's very smooth. I think that the Russell Wilson comparisons for him are accurate. We know that he has the athleticism to escape pressure. He doesn't necessarily want to run, but you can see that he can if he would like to. C.J. Stroud, Ryan Day is doing it again, getting this player who, remember that Minnesota game where everyone thought, all right, C.J. Stroud's going to lose his job to Kyle McCord. He ends up being a Heisman Trophy finalist, throws the ball downfield. He's going to have an excellent receiving core again next year with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's going to keep it firing on all cylinders. All right, so here's where we have the differences. My third quarterback is one Tyler Van Dyke, who was bombs away in Rhett Lashley's offense last year. Was originally sitting behind De'Aaron King, and it wasn't even sure that he would be starting because they had Jake Garcia, the highly touted freshman there. But Tyler Van Dyke, excellent player, aggressive downfield player. We talk about checking boxes. Well, Tyler Van Dyke has the size, he has the arm strength, he has the mentality, the aggressive mentality. The only problem is that you got Josh Gaddis coming into the U. You also got Mario Cristobal, a defensive guy. They may pour hot or cold water on Tyler Van Dyke's aggressiveness. May make that a running team, especially that now that they've signed Trevante Citizen to pair with Jalen Knighton, stealing Trevante Citizen away from LSU. Number 4. Now, so Cam had Jaron Hall going number 32 to Tampa Bay. If you are going to have the athletic dual threat quarterback, well, why not get the highest end of that spectrum? And that is one AR-15, Anthony Richardson, the best size-adjusted athlete, or I should just say the best athlete at the position. Hopefully he starts this year for Billy Napier, one of the most exciting players in the country. A Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson mesh as far as a rusher, needs to develop as a passer, but he, again, has the arm strength, has to be more consistent. I actually loved the plays that Dan Mullen drew up for him, even though Dan Mullen didn't deploy him as the starter as I wish he would have. But it's going to be all or nothing for Anthony Richardson. He's too big, too fast, too athletic to not be a first-round pick. So if he develops, if he can become the starter, I've got Anthony Richardson being the 4th quarterback. Spencer Rattler is going to be safe. He's got the physical tools also. May have some issues with teammates, though that has been reported, but Spencer Rattler right there as a potential first-round pick for me in 2023. Wide receiver, we agree on a lot of these. Kayshon Boutte, quite frankly, I don't think that he even has to play next year. I think that his draft stock is solidified. There's a portion of me that hopes that he sits out next year, maybe play 2 or 3 games and go for over 600 yards in those 2 or 3 games and just says, I'm opting out the rest of the season. Kayshon Boutte is that good. He's been that good really since Terrence Marshall opted out of the 2020 season. Jackson Smith-Njigba, what are you going to say? Ohio State wide receiver who has been more productive than Garrett Wilson, more productive than Chris Olave as a true sophomore. He speaks for himself. Jordan Addison, he's going to be there in the first round. Quentin Johnson, agree with that one. I'm not going to cover him extensively. But Jermaine Burton, legitimately the fastest man coming out of the opening in 2019, running that 4.43 or so. Just for comparison's sake, Justin Jefferson coming out of high school runs at 4.78, I believe. Saquon Barkley famously running at the opening a 4.66. So you have verified 4.4 speed for Jermaine Burton transferring from Georgia to Alabama. He's going to be the one-for-one replacement for Jamison Williams in stretch the defense. And if he does that, he is going to elevate himself into the first round the same way that Jamison Williams did this year. Jermaine Burton, potential first-round draft pick. The running backs. Now, this is where I had a problem with that 2023 mock draft. Yeah, Bijan Robinson, I have him going in the top 10. I think that we're going to see that after not seeing it for the last couple of years, running backs being devalued. I think we see that in 2023, Bijan Robinson going in the top 10. But you got to include Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's one of the best pass-catching running backs we've seen, maybe since Christian McCaffrey, maybe since Saquon Barkley. He can legitimately play wide receiver. Another Alabama transfer. Alabama going out and getting the best wide receiver, one of the best wide receivers in the transfer portal, and for my money, the best running back in the country in Jahmyr Gibbs. I cannot wait to see how they use him. I loved the way he was used in the passing game at Georgia Tech on these long developing wheel routes, putting a lot of pressure on your linebackers. Let's see if they utilize him the same way at Alabama. I don't want to just see him on swing routes and whatnot. He is not only one of the best running backs in the country, he's one of the best kick returners in the country. So just a dynamic, explosive athlete, 24/7. What were you doing ranking him the 14th running back in his class in 2020? And then the tight end. The tight end who is also not included in that 2023 mock draft is Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer is going to be a first-round draft pick, explosive, big, dependable athlete. I think he's going to go very, very highly in that 2023 mock draft. He's another guy that I think whose draft stock, if it's not established already, it is essentially established. Let me know what you think. Who got it right? Who got it wrong? Did I misidentify some potential first-round draft picks? Do you think Jaron Hall is a first-round pick? Do you think that Phil Jerkovich is a potential first-round pick? Jake Haener, number 7 overall. I don't see it, but do you? I think I'm going to include some of the links to the podcasts and articles that I've written where I've talked about Jake Haener. I've even written to the Fresno State Athletic Department trying to get an interview with Jake. Holla at me. Holla at me, all right? Okay. So let me know what you think in the comments. All right. That's it. All right. Peace. Bye, Mom.